Storehouse Media Group. Sherry, how are you? It's the greatest time to write a book, or I guess it's always a great time. It seems like everyone I talk to wants to write a book, and that's why they got to choose Storehouse Media. And tell us why.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, everybody does. And there are multiple reasons that a person will want to write a book. But there's always, like, I think there's one driving force. Like we were on a podcast. My first book I wrote was a passion. I wanted to ring alarms. I wanted to tell everybody this is what's going on in the foster care system. Pay attention. That was my driving force. Some people, they want to leave a legacy. Some people, they just want to share what they've done, or they want to share what they have, a skill, they've got a message. Maybe it's a Christian book, and again, you have a message. I tell people a lot of times they'll come to me with a idea for a book, and then turns out that they really have a passion in something else, and it might even be telling their own story. So my thoughts, and I always say, I know they say write what you know, that's good advice, but write what you're passionate about. And so take that topic and go with it, and your passion's going to come through those words into, your readers. And passion is contagious. It is just contagious. But yeah, writing a book could be so many reasons. And I think, business book, let everybody know what you're doing. That is going to lend you so much credibility in your business. Just imagine if you're an attorney and people walk into your, they're coming to see you, and they're in your, reception area, and there's your book, and they're thinking, oh, wow, they even got a book. Or they may find out about you through a book that you've written. So I mean, there's just so many, but whatever the reasons are, do it. It's not that scary. I mean, we have ways that you can write a book that would blow your mind, that you'd be like, oh, wow, I didn't know you could do it that way. But, that's us. And we're there to help you wherever you're at in that whole journey of writing a book, whether you've got a concept and you want to turn it to a book, or you've got some things scribbled down, or you've got something of a book. We can help you at that point wherever you're stuck. I had somebody the other day that I'd been working with, and I haven't talked to her in 3 years, simply because she went to college, she got busy, and she writes me, she says, I'm almost done with my book, but I'm stuck. I
Oh my
don't know what
gosh.
to do. I've this one chapter, I've got like 4 or 5 chapters, but I can't move forward because I'm stuck. I'm like, hey, let's hop on a call. So we hop on a call, and I talked her through it. She talked to me where she was at, and we talked through it. And she sent me an email like a week later and said, I'm done with my book. I've just got some, brushing up to do. And then, I'm gonna hand it over to be edited. And so, yeah, I mean, that's what it was, just talking to someone through a section where you're stuck. And so we'll take it wherever you want to take it.
Yeah, and you'll take it to the top. And so talk about just the process, because you're going to get to talk to you and your team, and it's not going to be this whole you work with them, you customize things. It's not like this, okay, cookie cutter, here you go, here's your published book, and we really didn't put the time in.
That's right. It's like this girl that called the other day, a week or two ago. You know, what we did with her is going to be different than what we're doing with a few other clients, simply because her where she's at in her journey, where she was at when we started working together, it is going to be different than the next person, or the person I just got off the phone with, or just worked on a book with. So we take your book where it's at, we take you where you're at, and we move it forward. Maybe you're just stuck and you can't. I mean, 3 years was a long time, but some people spend 10 years on a book. But once she got through that one chapter, she cruised through to the end. So yeah, we're not cookie cutters, because your book is not a cookie cutter. and your
No.
needs are different than other needs. And so we take those needs and we don't tell you this is how much it's going to cost and this is what we're going to do. We're going to say, let's see how we can help you. And
Right.
then we wrap our services around your needs, not the other way around.
And I think that's key. If you can't, it has to be, it can't be this give and take. It has to be, here you go.
That's right. That's right. Once we figure out what your needs are, that's where we go. We've begun. So, we do enjoy our clients. We're very client focused. We've always say your success is our success. So it's important we help make you successful, and that reflects back on us. And so that's our whole goal. We are not an assembly line. We're not a conveyor belt. You put a lot of time, a lot of emotion into that book, and let's make it worth it. You know.
And if you make it worth it, you're going to provide the best possible product at the end. And
That's right.
that's the thing. A book is for a legacy. Explain that to people why a book is a legacy.
Well, I've worked on a lot of books where the author is actually sharing his story or his history. And that is something that can be passed down to your kids and your grandkids and your great grandkids and all the way down. I mean, a book is forever. And that's what we tell people, like when you look at a title of a book, if you look at a cover of a book, you want to make sure it's done correctly. You don't want to cut corners because your name is going to be on that book forever and ever and ever. Amen. And that's it. So, can you imagine, Neil, you and I picking a book off of our bookshelf that was written by, let's say, our great great grandfather, and it tells the history, like in his words, and they're your ancestors, they're your family and your heritage line. Could you imagine learning about your family? I wish I had a book like that. You
Me
know,
too. I mean, that's you just nailed the hit nail on the head. That's what we want. We wish we had something special like that.
that's right. And I had a client who wrote a book. It was for legacy purposes. And he told me a story. He said that a young man had told him, hey, I read your book. And so I told my dad, Dad, you really need to write a book. And I'm just paraphrasing it. And for legacy. And so the dad did. He scribbled down words, he put it all together. And then after he put that book together, it wasn't long. When I say it wasn't long, a couple weeks, maybe a couple months, he died. But they had that book. They had his story that will never die, that he will live on through those pages.
And
My, yeah.
that's amazing. And it's so powerful because when you're able to do those things, and Sherry, that's the big thing, especially helping people. Let's talk about the ghostwriting process. It's a process. It's you have to take a lot of time, but the amount of a way you're able to get that information out of people through ghost writing. Explain that to us.
Well, I think it's important when somebody is wanting a book that it's crafted in a way that the readers get engaged, to the
Yeah.
point that a lot of times they're in those pages with you. They're walking that walk with you, and they just can't wait to see what you two do next. So what I do in order to make that happen, instead of just putting words on a page, I kind of scurry around in the brain of the authors, in the mind, like I ask questions that will bring the reader in there, whether it's about your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings, the setting, whatever it is. But the components in a book that when a reader reads it, they can picture themselves.
Yeah.
So it's called writing big. Show me, don't tell me, and being able to do the book in that way that the reader just can't turn the pages fast enough. And then they get to the end and they're like, okay, I get the end. It's like, oh man, I got to the end. Now I'm done. And that's when it's like, that you've written a good book. Or you hear people, oh, so and so read my book and they sent me an email, they called me and said, your book made me cry. And there's like, yes, my book made you cry. That means their book was able to hit upon those motions that the author wanted. And that's our goal, to let the readers feel that same joy, that same fear, that same anger, that same, pride that the person in the book is talking about or writing about at the time.
All right. Best place people can go, Sherry. And I know that that's where everyone loves seeing you on YouTube telling stories and all that stuff. Go
It
ahead.
is
Yeah.
www.storehousemediagroup.com.
All right.